Women's Series event. Fallon Sherrock competing in her 32nd final, having picked up 19 titles. And Kirsi Viinikainen through to this stage for the very first time. Had previously reached 3 semi-finals, but now a Women's Series finalist. Hasn't averaged above 79 so far today, whereas Fallon Sherrock, well, she kicked off her day with a 97 average, a very, very strong performance. But whilst you'd think that when you look at their numbers today so far anyway, that Fallon Sherrock, yes, she'll be a heavy favourite. Matt Edgar, Kirsi Viinikainen certainly can't be ruled out of this one.
No, and it's quite ironic, isn't it? Because earlier on in the day, Viinikainen came onto the streaming board and we said we couldn't really believe that in the 53 appearances she's had in a Women's Series that she's yet to make a final, because the levels have been there, the standard's been there, but she's just not been able to get past that semi-final stage, of which she's reached on multiple occasions, now going at least one better, and it's been a good season so far for her. And this is the part where I've mentioned multiple times today, a start of a season of any campaign is always exciting. 2 quarterfinals, a semi-final, and now a final for Viinikainen is going to put her very high on the seasonal order of merit as well. And that's not including the fact she's playing a big money game here, a chance to really add some ranking points. All she's got to do is make sure that Fallon Sherrock doesn't reach 20 Women's Series titles here today. Tally that she has been adding to every single year of the Women's Series, including this one, picked up event number 2, beating Bo Greaves in the final. She'll certainly be hoping for a little bit more in event number 6, that will be starting at the conclusion of this final. Straight back into the action.
Yeah, relentless days here on the Women's Series, and the draw has already been made for event number 6 of the year. Fallon Sherrock will kick off her next campaign against Kim Holden, whilst it's Joe Oldershaw for Viinikainen first up.
Do you know what would be really ironic? If, for example, in event number 6, round 1, Fallon Sherrock drew Viinikainen, which is possible. There is no seeding here on the Women's Series. No seeding on any of the sort of supplementary or secondary tours. The Development Tour, the Challenge Tour, the Women's Series, all open draws.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? And just, if that happened, further to it, just make them stay in the booth and just have to play the next game on there without even leaving.
Well, it speed things up because they want any practice starts. So a game shot of the match, Fallon to throw first for the ball.
Yeah. Just drifts into the wrong bed there, Fallon Sherrock.
$77. $100.
Double 12 for Fallon Sherrock. But again, 57. Into the wrong segment. And that could easily get messy if she does return to the board. Well, it's got messy for both of them, hasn't it, at the back end of this opening leg?
$52.
There's only one place she can go now.
4.
That is if she wants the success. There's plenty of other places it could go.
Yeah.
Game shot.
But it's a steal against the darts from Kirsi Viinikainen in 23 darts, but she won't care about that one bit. 4 darts missed. A double from Fallon Sherrock. And made to pay.
When you first get into finals and you're playing in these big events, you do just tend to feel a bit heavy. It's the best way of describing it, as if like there's a pressure above 56. Just pushing down on you. Can just occasionally just play with that release a little bit. So to get out nice and clean, especially on a high target, that's going to be a settler.
And for Fallon Sherrock, when you know you're the more experienced player in this sort of situation, you just want to emphasize that, don't you, at the start of a contest, and put your mark on it. Get your opponent asking questions of themselves. But instead, she's allowed Viinikainen to settle into this one.
Yeah, if anything, you'd say Viinikainen's the more experienced player here in this sort of environment. And Sherrock yet to really assert herself. 100. She really did start well, didn't she, against Lisa Ashton in the semi-final. Blazed off into a 3-0 lead. Lisa Ashton hit her back hard, and 100. Then Fallon stepped it back up again. Just went through the gears.
Well, just to remind you, because we did just say that Event 6 will start immediately after the conclusion of this tournament. And we did joke about if these two played each other, just keep them on the streaming board. Well, Fallon Sherrock will be straight back on the streaming board. She's taking on Kim Holden, and we'll be bringing you that one. So it's quite an interesting one, actually. I'm glad we're doing that to show how quick that turnaround is, whether it's in defeat or victory.
42.
There are a lot of emotions that come after a final, and having to kind of put them to one bed to go again at the start of a new tournament, which is a very, very different feeling. Interesting to see that play out.
And it's also quite tricky in regards to the motivation.
100.
You're playing a game here where you're looking at a 4-figure prize difference between winning and losing. And then you go to a game where
60.
You're playing for a chance to win £100. It's a big difference, and you see people struggle with this. Certainly, well, when you first get to the World Championships, and you're playing a game there for 15,000, 25,000, and then you go back to the Pro Tour and you're playing for a fraction of that, but yet the levels are still just as hard.
Double 16 here for Kirsi Viinikainen. A lovely finish to double her advantage. We're talking about whether Fallon Sherrock will be returning to the streaming board for the next event as a winner or a loser.
94.
Well, if Viinikainen... I was going to say if she could keep this up, but Fallon Sherrock's not doing a great deal at the moment, is she? She's not playing to the level that she's shown over the course of this event. Viinikainen kind of playing to type, really.
85.
And that's more than enough. You can see the numbers on the screen. Fallon Sherrock in the mid-60s right now, but we don't expect that she's going to stay there. She's certainly capable of putting a good 20 points on top of that average, and expect to see that climb.
.44. 60.
Doesn't give too much away, does she, Fallon? You're always looking for a bit of a read with Fallon. In this situation, 2-0 down, not quite at her very best. Hits her 60. Instantly, I'm looking at the reaction, and there's not much. Just a extended blink is about as most as you're going to get from Fallon.
140. 93.
Important last start there from Fallon Sherrock.
.81. 90. 28.
Well, she'll be hopeful of returning here, Fallon Sherrock, but we've seen one ton topper from Viinikainen already. Treble 17. Oh, just next door. Not too far away.
$83.
Well, this is a leg in which Fallon Sherrock thrown first, which makes this vital. This is potentially a big moment in this game.
14.
Because now Viinikainen's got a chance for a double break of throw and to put herself more than halfway towards the finishing line. Perfect first start, gives her 2 darts at the outer ring. Only
Game
needs
shot.
the 1. That is 2. Nice little combination finishes here for Viinikainen. Fallon left with a lot to ponder here. Viinikainen, a debutant here in a final, cruising.
Yeah, and Sherrock shaking her head because at the moment she's allowing Viinikainen
100.
to grow in confidence and to start to have that little bit of authority in this match. But
140.
we all know Sherrock won't stop fighting until the end. Just another thing, you might be wondering who Bo Greaves has got in the next event. She, of course, fell at the first hurdle of event number 1 to Katie Sheldon. We brought you that on the streaming board earlier on.
140.
She's up against Marion Conway at the start of our second event.
100.
Fallon far from impressed, I think it's fair to say, with what she's produced so far in
85.
this one.
And she has stepped it up since the early legs. The issue she's got is Viinikainen stepped it up as well.
135.
And she's finding a little bit of comfort here in this final. Fallon looking to lay down the challenge on the Viinikainen darts. Feel a treble here is quite vital. Certainly now. Fallon may be sensing an opportunity to get her first leg on the board here in this final.
One thing you can always
29.
say about Viinikainen, she won't be rushed into making a decision.
More than
Fallon.
fair.
54.
Two trebles required for a dart at the double. But the problem here for Fallon is she hasn't shaved too much off that score. There's a lot of work to be done there. It's one of those sort of shots where a lot of it really lies on dart 1. Don't hit that treble and the best you're getting is 1 dart at the double. That's the scenario we've got. And it's 1 dart at tops.
And it was very nearly,
Game
not
shot.
even that. You can see with that second dart almost in the 1 segment, but she makes the most of it in the end. A break back. And the perfect start to the next leg.
Sort of
140.
6 darts there of comfort for Fallon. Something that will feel a bit relieving and maybe feel like she's got a bit more control of things now. Taking out a nice little combination shot there and then kicking off with a 140.
77.
Looking to defend her throw for the first time in this final. Will still need to break again, but clear evidence signs at the moment that she's starting to go
137.
through the gears. Starting to pick up the pace. Average goes above 80 for the first time in this game. And also for the first time in this game, the average is levelling off where they're meeting somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, Fallon's languishing
100.
in the 60s the first few legs of this match. As I said, not really representative of what she's been doing over the course of today.
60. $45. 100.
There's just never any panic with her, is there? Fallon Sherrock. Even at 3-0 down in a final.
97.
Part of that is she'll feel, and with the stats and with her history and with her CV,
32.
will certainly support the feeling that she'll feel she's a better player here. She'll feel that she's always got a higher ceiling. But where the panic may set in is there's not a lot of room for error now, because Viinikainen's only a couple of legs away. I mean, a surprise winner here in Women's Series event number 5.
Game shot.
You feel if Viinikainen is to go on to win this game, this leg could be quite key. Very similar to the semi-final Fallon Sherrock played, wasn't it? 3-0. Clawed back and then Fallon kicked on again.
76.
You'd question if Viinikainen's got that gear to then look at those 5-visit legs in those key moments.
100.
Yeah, we know she's got it in her locker, most definitely, Viinikainen, but she's not really shown it today so far.
She's a player that does get very emotional as well with situations. I've seen at the Super Series when she qualified through her group stage there to play on the Saturday night in tears at the qualification. So
I think that's because she had another day with you, Matt.
Tears of joy, Abby.
Absolutely.
100.
This is exactly what the doctor
95.
ordered right now. A steady leg, keep the dart straight, pick off a treble every throw, force Fallon into doing something special.
100.
I mean, it's risky because normally when you force Fallon into doing something special, she's more than capable. And more often than not does.
Again, picking that treble off first dart just to settle up. May look at the ball here. 25 would leave a possible 2-darter. I think she's going to try and force one around here, looking at that setup.
100.
That's just where the extra 5 points now mean it's a 3-dart combination. If it was blocked, nice open target on the ball.
140.
Tops for Viinikainen to shut the door on Sherrock in this leg.
85.
Just low. Well, Sherrock was shaking her head, wasn't she? She thought it was inevitable that that was going to go for Viinikainen.
Almost like she was resigned to her fate. Still rescued this shot. Double 16 for a level game.
29.
Well, how important come the end of this match is that exchange going to be?
Game
She's got
shot.
it a leg away. Viinikainen holds on to her darts from now. Fallon Sherrock needs to be perfect. Well, I suppose the advantage for Fallon Sherrock is even though she needs to be perfect and win all 3 legs, she's going to have to throw in 2 out of the 3
81.
legs. Only needs the 1 break from Viinikainen.
Just having a couple of issues with the scoreboard, so we'll keep you up to date after
140.
one visit. Fallon Sherrock on 420. But Viinikainen with that 140 on 361.
43.
$16 points plus these ahead. Viinikainen
81.
against the throw.
The level of concerns there for Fallon Sherrock was starting to rise. Pops in a big 140, gets herself back into the leg. Work to be done, 237. Still needs to find something on the return to the board. On here wouldn't be enough for Viinikainen to leave a finish, but does get her down to 180. Probably one of the only times she's never going to want to hit it.
And boy, have we seen it done.
60.
Trebleless visit from Sherrock, though, means she's not on a finish after 4 visits to the board. 177. Viinikainen will be first down to a finish. Don't hit another one, Kirsi.
140.
There's always a risk, but absolutely exceptional against the darts.
She's going to get match darts. She's going to get darts 93 here for the title. 3 darts at tops for her first Women's Series crown.
And Viinikainen gets over the line with a 13-dart leg. The Finn finds a way to shut the door on Sherrock and claim her first ever success on the Women's Series. And just look at what it means to her. Had never made it to the final of one of these events before, but she has now, and she has beaten the 19-time winner Fallon Sherrock to take the title.